Welcome student. Today we will learn about agents of pollination. Here agents, also known as agencies, agencies of pollination, means for the process of pollination agents are required in case of some plant which carry the pollen grain from mature anther lobe to the receptive stigma of another flower bearing on another plant or on the same plant of same species. Agents are required or agencies are required, means madhyam, means some mediator is required to transfer these pollen grain. That is agents or agencies of pollination. We know that pollination is the process in which there is a transfer of pollen grain from mature anther lobe, like this. There is a transfer of pollen grain from mature anther lobe to the receptive stigma of same flower or another flower bearing on same plant or on another plant of same species. We call it as what? Pollination. Paragaman. That a paragakan, it move from one place to another. Paragaman. So agents are required or agencies are required for this pollination process. There are two main agents or agencies are present in the nature, or we divide these agent in these two group. One we call it as a biotic agent and second we call it as a biotic agent. Here abiotic means ajaivik, means non-living abiotic agents, and second one we call it as a biotic. Here bio means a living, jaivik means a living organism play important role to transfer the pollen grain from one flower to another flower. That is a biotic agent. One is the abiotic agent and second one is the biotic agent. Abiotic agents or agencies in which we will study anemophily, and second one, that is a hydrophily. And in case of these biotic type of agent or agencies, we will study entamophily or ornithophily or zoophily or malacophily or chiropterophily, then myrmecophily or ophiophily, like this. In case of these abiotic type of agents or agencies, two types are there. One is the anemophily and second one is the hydrophily. See here, anemo and this one phily. Anemo means wind, and this phily means attracting or loving. Anemophily means pollination which is carried out with the help of wind. Pollination which is carried out with the help of wind, we call it as anemophily. And the plant in which such a type of pollination takes place, that plant we call it as a anemophilous plant. Second we call it as hydrophily. Here hydro means water, means pollination which is carried out with the help of water. We call it as hydrophily, and that plant we call it as a hydrophilous plant. So there are so many plants which pollinate with the help of wind. Wind pollinated plant, for example grasses, then typha is there, then jawar, then bajra, then bamboo, then maize, then sugarcane. So many plants are there which depends on wind for the process of what? Pollination. There are so many plants which are present inside the water and they are totally depends on water. These are water agencies or agent for pollination, means these water play important role to carry the pollen grain to the receptive stigma of another flower. So water play here very important role. That is a hydrophily. So many submerged plants are there. Vallisneria is one example in which water play a very important role to carry the pollen grain from one place to another. Then biotic. In biotic, jaivic means a living organism play important role. In case of these biotic type of what? These agent of pollination. First one, that is entomophily. Here entomology, the science which deals with the study of insect, we call it as entomology. Means here entomo means insect. Means here insect play important role to carry the pollen grain from mature anther lobe to the receptive stigma of same flower or another flower. For the process of pollination, we call it as entomo. Entomo means insect. Pollination which is carried out with the help of insect, known as entomophily, and that plant we call it as entomophilous plant. In case of these plant, we call it as Delonix regia, or we call it as gulmohar. In case of this plant, here insect play important role to carry the pollen grain from one flowers to another flower, and here pollination carried out with the help of what? Insect. There are so many such type of flowers, they are, or the plants, they are present in the nature. They are totally depends on insect for the process of what? Pollination. Second type, that is a zoophily. That is a biotic type of what? This is agent for pollination. Zoophily. Here a zoo means animal. Means animal play important role to carry the pollen grain from one flowers to another flower. For example, we are the animals. So in case of hybridization, in case of hybridization process, we humans carry the pollen grain from mature anther lobe by brush, and we deposit that pollen grain on the receptive stigma of what? Another flower of same species. We cross these two variety and we form third variety. Means we are playing important role to cross these two plants and forming third variety. Means here zoo means animal. Human is also animal. So they like so many different that animals play important role to carry the pollen grain from one place to another. For example, a sheep, for example, goat, like these animal, they carry the pollen grain from one flowers to another. To their hairs, this is pollen grain, or to their body, the pollen grain get adhere, and when they move from one place to another, here the pollen grain get carry like this. Next type we call it as a ornithophily. Here ornitho means a bird. Means here birds play important role. Here bird carry the pollen grain from one flowers to another flower. For example, in case of a bottle brush, the birds these birds suck the nectar from one flower, and when it suck the nectar of another flower, the another flower it get pollinate due to this method, due to this bird. Pollination which is carried out with the help of bird, we call it as a ornithophily. The next, that is a malacophily. Malaco means a snail. Here snail. For example, in case of these Erysemia, and for example in case of these aroid, in case of these two plants, snail play important role, because snail body is a soft body, slimy body, and to is a soft body, pollen grain get adhere, and when the snail it move from one flower to another flower, pollination takes place here. Means here snail play important role to pollinate these flowers of these Erysemia and these aroid. Pollination carried out with the help of what? Snail. We call it as a malacophily. What is it? Malacophily. The next, that is a carapterophily. Here caraptero means a bat. Pollination carried out with the help of a bat. We call it as what? Carapterophily. Bat. In case of one, for example, in case of one flower, we call it as a Calaginella. It opens at night time. This flower is bigger in size. Petals are like these are fleshy and big petals, and the bat directly enter inside these big flowers at night time to gain the nectar, and when it fly to another flower, pollination get carried out with the help of this bat. We call it as what? Carapterophily. The next, Marnicophily. This type of pollination, it is carried out with the help of ant, chitty. One plant we call it as a Ficus religiosus, people. Second plant, Ficus bengalensis. In case of such a plant, in case of Anjir, Ficus, in case of these plant, that fruit which is there, that fruit, it is one type of special type of modified inflorescence. We call it as a hypanthodium type of inflorescence, in which all the flowers they are arranged on that modified receptacle like this in the circle. This is a special type of these are flowers. They are arranged on the receptacle. We call it as a hypanthodium type of inflorescence. And the ant enter inside these modified receptacle, the hypanthodium type of inflorescence, and inside it pollinate all the flowers. In case of Ficus bengalensis, Ficus religiosus, people, bird, like these fruits or like these flower, hypanthodium type of inflorescence. Ant play important role. Next, that is the ophiophyly. Ophiophyly, pollination carried out with the help of snake. Snake also in some cases play important role in the pollination process. In case of, for example, arum. In case of arum, snake transfer the pollen grain from one flowers to another like this. That snake, snake play important role to pollinate these flower. We call it as ophiophyly. Like these, there are two type of like these agents or agencies. One is the abiotic agent and second one is the biotic agent. In case of this abiotic agent, anemophily is there and hydrophily is there. In case of biotic agent, entomophily, zoophily, ornithophily, chiropterophily, malacophily, myrmecophily and ophiophyly. These are the types of biotic and abiotic type of agents or agencies which help in the process of pollination. Now question arises, why there is a need of such a different type of agencies for the pollination in case of a plant? This question get arise, why there is a need? Answer is because in case of that pollen grain, when the pollen tube formation takes place, in the pollen tube, two male gamete formation takes place. By the process we call it as a meiosis cell division. And in case of here ovule, inside the ovule, in the embryo sac, by the process of meiosis cell division, egg formation is there. Means in the pollen grain, in the pollen tube, two male gamete, and inside the ovule in embryo sac, one that is an egg. These gametes, they are stationary in nature. Means these gametes are non-motile. Means they do not move from one place to another. Due to which there is a need of these agencies to transfer these pollen grain from one flowers to another. In case of animal, sperms are there, and that sperms they move from one place to another. So in case of animal, there is no need of such type of agencies. But in case of plant, the gametes are stationary. Means they do not show the movement. They are stationary. They don't move from one place to another. Due to which in case of plant, such type of agencies or agents are required. Now dear students, see here, we will see adaptation to this anemophily or anemophilous plant. Which type of adaptation takes place in case of these anemophilous plant, we will see here. To gain wind pollination, to gain these wind pollination, how these plant they adapt themselves to gain the wind pollination. See here, two type of plants are there in case of these anemophilous plants. One we call it as the terrestrial types of plants. Means plant they are present on the land. Grasses, typha, jawar, bajra, bamboo, maize, sugarcane. Out of which, see here, this one type of grass, this one another type of grass. Here, two species, and this one third type of grass, like this is a third species, and one species is also there. These all species belongs to this is a agrosis, this one, and this one we call it as typha. What is it? Typha. All these plants are monocot plants, and in these monocot plants wind pollination is the rule, because these plants, they are totally depend on wind for the process of what? Pollination. One plant is also there, this one is the maize. See this one plant, maize plant. The botanical name of this maize plant, we call it as a zea maize. In case of this plant also, wind pollination is the rule. We'll see the details of these maize, in these maize, how the pollination takes place in the detail in a few minutes like this. See here. In case of these plants, how these plants they adapt, we will see here. Second type of plants, in case of these ANEMOPILOUS, they are aquatic in nature. Myriophyllum and Potamogeton. These are the two plants, they are present in water, but their flowers, they emerge out. Their androeciums and gynoecium, they emerge out of the water, and they totally depends on wind for the process of what? Pollination. Though these plants, they are present in water, but still they are depends on wind, because their flowers come out of the water. The plant come out of the water, and their sex organs, they project out in the air, and they are totally depends on air for the process of what? Pollination, and not on the water. Now see here, these are plants, these are all plants. Some of these plants, they are most primitive, and some of these plants are developed angiosperm, depends on the wind pollination. Next, the flowers are small. In case of these plants, see here, the flowers are very small. See here, the flowers are very small in these inflorescences. Small flowers are there. Flowers are small. Then inconspicuous, means they are not colorful. Then in which nectar and the fragrance absent. These flowers, they are totally depends on wind for the process of pollination, due to which nectar, then colorful petals, and then the fragrance, like these things are totally absent in case of these plant. Now see, petals are colorless. Petals are colorless. In case of one plant, see here, these are plant, that is a Delonex regia. In this plant, this flower shows a colorful petal like these, red color petals, to attract the insect for the process of what? Pollination. Means this plant pollinated by the insect. But in case of this plant, here the petals are colorless. Petals are very short. Petals are colorless, mostly green in color. See, the petals are green in color, and highly reduced. The petals are highly reduced, very small petals are there. Then stamen with a long filament. If stamens are present, that stamen shows like these long filaments. Stamen shows long filament with a versatile exposed anther. It shows a versatile anther. In case of these grasses, anther is versatile in nature, means it moves in all direction, and when it dehisces, it release the pollen grain. Tremendous pollen grain get released in all direction for the process of wind pollination. Then uncountable pollen grains formation takes place in case of these plant. Uncountable pollen grains formation takes place in case of these plant, to compensate the pollen grain wastage in wind pollination. Tremendous means uncountable pollen grain formation takes place in these plant. If a wind blow in this one direction, then pollination carried out. But if wind blow in another direction, then there is a wastage of what? Pollen grain. To compensate this wastage of pollen grain form uncountable or tremendous in case of these grasses. Then next, pollen grains of wind pollinated plants are small in size. The pollen grain which is formed in these plants are very small in size. Then smooth walled, pale yellow, and light in weight. Pollen grains are very light in weight. They are very small. Their smooth wall is there, and they easily move in wind from one place to another, or they carried out with the wind current from one place to another. There are some records in which it find out that pollen grain with the help of wind it travels near about 1300 kilometers. Records are there. Now see here, the style in case of this flower is long, large feathery style is there, or hairy style is there, or in some case mucilage stigma is present to trap the pollen grain. Such type of adaptation takes place for this process. We call it as what? Anemophily. Then in case of this flower, generally in case of this flower, single ovule is present in each ovary. Then flowers are in inflorescence. Flowers are in inflorescence means flowers are in group. These all are the minute flowers. So many flowers are there. So many flowers are there. So many flowers are there. Means these arrangement of flowers here. So many flowers get arranged here on the floral axis. We call it as an inflorescence. Like this, inflorescence formation takes place in case of these families. Then pollination is a non-directional. Pollination is non-directional, due to which more wastage of pollen grain takes place. Then plant known as anemophilous plant. These all plants are anemophilous plant because this plant totally depends on wind for the process of pollination. Then in case of a maize, this is a plant, we call it as a maize. In case of a maize plant, male and female flowers are on same plant, but male and female that flowers are separate. See here this one, the inflorescence of male flowers. See here the inflorescence of this female flower. Male flower, female flower. They are present on same plant. We call it as a monoecious plant. In case of this maize plant, in case of a zea maize. See here. In case of this plant we call it as a zea maize. Monocot plant. This one. These all are the male flowers. Male inflorescence. All these flowers are only male flowers. Only androeciums are present in this flower. Male flower, gynoecium is totally absent. But here, in case of, see here, in case of this corn, this one. In case of this corn, here, all the flowers which are present is all flowers, this one, are the female flower. And from this female flower, one like this structure emerge out. See, one like this structure, it emerge out like this one. And this one structure which emerge out from this flower, this structure is nothing but gynoecium. Gynoecium of the flower. So many flowers are there here. These all flowers are the female flower, and from each flower, one gynoecium come out, and it forms like these silky, like these long gynoecium, these tough of these gynoecium. We call it as tassel. What is it? Tassel. These all are the style. Means these all structure are the style. See, one style I will show you. This one style, and this style it shows here one stigma. One style, second style, third style, fourth. So many styles are there, and these collectively these style structure. This one, these silky structure. These collectively we call it as a tassel. So these all are the female flowers, and these all are the male flowers. They are present on one plant. That plant we call it as a monoecious plant. In case of this maize plant, or we call it as what? Zea maize. These are the male flower and these are the female flower. This one is the corn. After fertilization, this structure get converted into that maize seed. This structure, female flower. Each female flower get converted into that maize seed like this. This is a corn like this structure. So, dear student, here we have seen the adaptation in case of this anemophily. In next video, we will see the adaptation in case of hydrophily and this entomophily like this. Dear student, if you want to take a screenshot, then kindly carry it out. Please take it. Thank you.